Over the next few decades, the Baychimo was spotted multiple times by hunters, explorers, even passing ships, always alone, always moving. Visitors report strange echoes, sudden drops in temperature, and the feeling of being watched deep inside the tunnels. Welcome to Midnight Cases, where we unpack history's most disturbing unsolved stories. Hidden along the cliffs beneath the Golden Gate Bridge, there are military bunkers most people never see. Built during World War II, these concrete fortifications were designed to defend the California coast from invasion. Massive artillery once sat inside them, aimed directly at the Pacific. But today, they're empty, abandoned, and slowly being reclaimed by the ocean. Some of these bunkers are sealed off. Others remain open, leading into dark, narrow tunnels that disappear into the cliffs. Inside, you'll find rusted equipment, crumbling walls, and graffiti left by those who dared to explore. Crumbling walls with faded, eerie graffiti, hinting at past visitors and their unsettling messages. But it's not just the decay that makes them unsettling. Visitors report strange echoes, sudden drops in temperature, and the feeling of being watched deep inside the tunnels. These structures were never meant to be lived in, only used in war. And maybe that's why they feel so wrong now, because places built for conflict don't always stay empty. So the question is, would you walk into a bunker like this, not knowing what's waiting inside? Subscribe to follow along as we recount history's most mysterious events. The Mary Celeste is history's most famous ghost ship, but the real mystery isn't how it was found. It's where the crew thought they were going. In 1872, the ship was discovered drifting in the Atlantic. Cargo intact, food untouched. Not a single person on board. No signs of violence, no distress signal. Just gone. But hidden within its final logbook entries is something far more disturbing. Coordinates, a precise course plotted by the navigator toward a place labeled Port Ethelgard. There's just one problem. It doesn't exist. Not on any map, not in any record. Nowhere. And yet, when historians reconstructed the route, the math was perfect. The ship wasn't lost. It was exactly where it meant to be. Even stranger, the final entries don't describe panic. They describe arrival. One line reads, "Harbor confirmed." The lifeboat was missing, meaning the crew didn't vanish. They left. So the question isn't what happened to them. It's this. Did they disappear, or did they reach a destination we can't see? In the Arctic Circle, there's a Soviet town that wasn't abandoned slowly. It was left almost overnight. On the remote island of Svalbard sits Pyramiden, once a thriving mining town built by the Soviet Union. At its peak, hundreds of people lived here. There was a school, a hospital, even a theater. Then, in 1998, everything stopped. Residents packed up and left. But not completely. Inside the buildings, you'll still find dishes on tables, books on shelves, even pianos untouched for decades. It's not just abandoned, it's preserved. Because the Arctic cold froze everything in time. Officially, the town was closed due to economic reasons after the Soviet Union collapsed. But the speed of the evacuation raised questions. Why leave so much behind? Why does it feel like people expected to come back? Today, Pyramiden still stands, silent, frozen, and nearly untouched. A perfect snapshot of a world that just stopped. So the question is, was it really abandoned or just paused? Follow for more forgotten places. In 1845, 129 men sailed into the Arctic and were never seen alive again. Led by Sir John Franklin, 2 ships set out to find the Northwest Passage through the Canadian Arctic. They were among the most advanced expeditions of their time. Reinforced hulls, 3 years of supplies, confidence, then they vanished. Years later, search parties began finding traces, abandoned camps, scattered equipment, and notes left behind in the ice. One message confirmed the ships had become trapped, locked in place for over a year. The crews tried to survive. Then they tried to escape. They left the ships and marched south, dragging supplies across frozen land. None of them made it. Modern investigations have since revealed the remains, bodies preserved in the permafrost, showing signs of starvation, disease, and desperation. The ships themselves weren't found until over 150 years later, resting silently beneath the Arctic waters. The ice didn't just trap them, it erased them. What would you have done? Stay with the ships or risk the unknown? Follow for more real stories lost to history. In December 1900, 3 lighthouse keepers vanished from one of the most isolated places on Earth. On the remote Flannan Isles off the coast of Scotland, a supply ship arrived at the lighthouse, and something was wrong. The light was out, the door was unlocked, and inside, no one was there. Meals were left on the table. A chair was overturned. One set of oilskins was missing, meaning at least one man went outside into a storm. But the others, they should have stayed. The logbook made it even stranger. Entries described violent winds, fear, even one keeper writing that another was crying. But here's the problem. There were no storms reported in the area at the time. When investigators searched the island, they found no bodies, no signs of a fall, no evidence of escape, just cliffs and crashing waves below. To this day, no one knows what happened to the 3 men. So, what would make experienced lighthouse keepers abandon their post all at once? Follow for more real mysteries lost at sea. Buried deep inside a mountain in the Arctic, there's a vault designed to survive the end of the world. Located on the remote island of Svalbard, the Svalbard Global Seed Vault holds over 1 million seed samples from nearly every country on Earth. Its purpose is simple. If global crops fail, this is the backup. But what makes it unsettling isn't just what's inside, it's how it was built. The vault sits hundreds of feet inside solid rock, protected by permafrost, reinforced concrete, and multiple sealed doors. Temperatures are kept below freezing at all times. Even if systems fail, the environment itself preserves everything inside. And yet, there have already been problems. In 2017, melting permafrost caused water to breach the entrance tunnel, raising concerns about long-term stability. Nothing was lost, but it proved something important. Even the world's most secure backup isn't immune. So the question is, if this place is the last line of defense, what happens if it fails? Follow for more real places that feel unreal. In the high Arctic of northern Canada, there's a research station so remote, it doesn't officially exist anymore. Hidden deep in the tundra near Ellesmere Island, this facility was built to study permafrost and atmospheric changes in one of the coldest environments on Earth. For years, a small crew lived here, completely cut off for months at a time. Then, one season, they stopped reporting in. Resupply aircraft arrived to find the station intact, power still running, equipment still active, but no crew, no evacuation request, no distress signal, just one anomaly. Every recording system inside the station was filled with the same low-frequency tone, repeating over and over. Not a normal sound, something deeper, almost below human hearing. Investigators noted signs of sudden departure, personal belongings left behind, meals unfinished, doors left open to the freezing wind. But outside, there were no tracks, nothing leading away from the station, and beneath it, something even stranger. Thermal scans detected pockets of heat moving under the frozen ground, far below the permafrost layer, in places where nothing should be able to survive. The official explanation blamed equipment, malfunction, and extreme isolation. But the station was shut down immediately and never used again, because whatever signal they detected was coming from below the ice. Would you investigate that station or never go near it? Like and subscribe, because you might not see this channel again. In a remote corner of Alaska, there's a radar station that didn't just shut down, it went silent mid-transmission. Buried under constant snow and wind, this Cold War outpost once monitored skies for threats. Dozens of personnel worked here, tracking signals across the Arctic, until one day every transmission stopped. Not gradually, instantly. When crews investigated, they found the station still powered, screens flickering, equipment running. But no one inside, no signs of evacuation, no distress calls logged, just empty rooms, and one thing they couldn't explain: the final recording. A fragment of audio repeating through the system, distorted, stretched, almost human, but not quite. Analysts couldn't trace the source. It didn't match any known frequency or language. Even stranger, footprints were found outside the station, leading away from the building, and then stopping abruptly in the snow. No return tracks, no bodies, nothing. The official explanation blamed equipment failure and extreme weather, but the station was never reactivated, never repopulated, just sealed and left to decay in the Arctic silence, because whatever interrupted that signal was never identified. Would you stay to investigate that recording, or leave immediately? Follow for more hidden places. The storms here don't just hit, they trap you. Out in the Bering Sea, on a remote island called Adak Island, hurricane-force winds rip across the land for days at a time. Waves slam the coastline, visibility drops to nothing, and for months out of the year, there is no escape. And right in the middle of it sits a massive abandoned military base. During the Cold War, Adak Naval Base was one of the most strategic outposts on Earth. Over 6,000 personnel lived here, tracking Soviet submarines in total isolation, surrounded by relentless storms and freezing darkness. But then, it was abandoned. Not slowly, not carefully, just left behind. Buildings still stand open. Equipment still sits where it was last used. Entire sections look like people walked out mid-shift and never came back. Officially, it was decommissioned after the Cold War ended. But the speed of the shutdown raised questions. Why leave so much behind? In a place already this dangerous? Today, the base rots in the wind, swallowed by storms that never stop. Because out here, once you leave, you don't come back. Was this really a shutdown, or something they're not telling us? You might never encounter this channel again. Follow now to lock in your ticket to more Forgotten Place stories. In 1931, a cargo ship became trapped in Arctic ice and was abandoned by its crew. That ship was the SS Baychimo. After being locked in the frozen waters near Alaska, the crew eventually evacuated, believing the ship would be crushed and lost forever. But it wasn't. Days later, it was seen again, still drifting, still intact. Over the next few decades, the Baychimo was spotted multiple times, by hunters, explorers, even passing ships. Always alone, always moving. Some even boarded it, only to leave again when conditions turned dangerous. Then, in 1969, it was seen for the last time, and after that, nothing. No wreckage, no confirmed sinking, just gone. A ship that refused to disappear until it finally did. So, the question is the Baychimo at the bottom of the Arctic Ocean, or still out there, drifting somewhere in the ice?